Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and today I want to take a look at what I consider to be probably the best defensive weapon in Rainbow Six Siege, and that is the 416 carbine. I'm always confused that I don't see more people playing as Jaeger so that they can use this magnificent gun. With the combination of its insane damage, I don't think people understand how hard this thing hits. With its solid rounds per minute and good recoil, it's an amazing, a simply fantastic weapon on the defensive team. And so easily the best aspect of the 416C is that high damage. If you're going against someone who has 1 armor and you hit them in the chest and you're reasonably up close, you're gonna do 42 damage per bullet. I believe that is the highest out of all of the defensive weapons in Rainbow Six Siege. Like that is comparable to the assault rifles for the offensive team. Like no other operator has a weapon that hits this hard. If you do hit him in the arm and the chest though, it does drop that damage down to 31. And so if you ever come into a situation for whatever reason where all you can see is the enemy's arm or leg, it will require 1 extra bullet to take them out from 100% to 0 if all you can go is for those limb shots. Moving on over to 2 armor targets, if you hit them in the chest, it's going to do 38 damage per bullet, and if you hit them in the arm or the leg, it's going to drop it down to 28, and honestly, there's really no difference here. Yes, there is a little bit of a damage reduction, but once again, if your target is at a 100% health, if you hit every single one of your rounds in the enemy's chest, it's still only going to require 3 rounds to drop them, and if you hit them in the limb, it's going to require 4. Pretty awesome. The biggest difference that we see is we move on over to the 3 armor targets, where if you hit them in the chest, it's going to do 33 damage, and if you hit them in the limb, it's going to drop down to 21. In general, though, I do believe that this is the hardest hitting weapon for the defensive team. I might be wrong because I haven't tested out all the damage numbers for every single weapon in the game, but playing with all the guns and playing with all the operators, this is easily the best aspect of the 416C. One thing that will assist you with this, though, is its recoil. I will admit that it is a little bit more unruly compared to some of the other guns in the game, but once you understand that it recoils up and to the right, it's not too difficult to reel that in and compensate for it to maintain at least somewhat of a resemblance of accuracy. Here, for example, I'm shooting at this wall, going full auto, trying to control the recoil, and while it's not a laser beam, you're never able to get that out of it by going full auto, I am able to reel in the recoil enough where if an enemy was anywhere near that location, they would die very quickly. Like that is a fair bullet spread that we have in there once you do understand the recoil pattern. If you tap fire it though, and this is really what I would recommend for the 416 and pretty much all the weapons in Rainbow Six Siege, you're able to put 3 or 4 bullets pretty much exactly where you shot at. If you tap fire this with this gun and you understand how it performs, you can have and make this thing a laser beam. And so on top of the high damage and this recoil, as you guys can hopefully see, this is becoming a winning combination for Jaeger. And then lastly, it has a rounds per minute of 700 and a magazine size of 30. Not really a whole lot to write home about with this. 30 rounds in a mag is pretty standard for all of the weapons. 700 isn't the worst in the game, but it's by no means the best. And so just in general, this is quite mediocre for the 416. If it was any better, it probably would make the weapon blatantly overpowered, and so it makes sense that at least these 2 qualities are on par with a lot of the other weapons in Rainbow Six Siege. But overall, the reason why I have fallen in love with the 416C is that winning combination between its recoil and high damage. I always recommend that you go for headshots with any weapon that you're using, and of course that's going to be true for Jaeger's gun, but there's something valuable and there's something to say about something that doesn't need to rely on headshots to be able to drop people consistently and quickly. That is where the true power lies with the 416C. And so if you're someone who struggles to line up headshots reliably, or you're just someone who wants to use what I consider to be one of the best weapons in Rainbow Six Siege, then I highly recommend that you try this one out. I'm always surprised at how few people play as Jaeger, not only because I think he has an amazing gadget at his disposal, like the trophy system is amazing at countering other operators, especially Fuse, but in combination with this weapon, I really do believe that Jaeger is one of the strongest operators in the game right now. But of course, that is just my opinion. If you do decide to use this bad boy, the customization that I recommend is to slap on the holographic scope. Personally, I find the holographic scope to be the best choice for all the scopes in the game, but of course, it's going to come down to your personal preferences. is, but the real decision is to go with the compensator or the suppressor. Personally, I think the compensator is a must because of its more unruly recoil. If you do decide to go with the suppressor, you're gonna have to not only deal with more recoil, but then you're also reducing probably the best aspect of the gun, and that is that high damage. And so the fact that it does have a little bit slower RPM compared to some of the other guns, on top of that diminished damage requiring basically 1 extra bullet, I really don't think that the suppressor is the best choice. If you're able to go for headshots, then hot damn, go for it. But if you're looking for what makes this weapon amazing, then I think the compensator is the best choice here. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Give me your thoughts on this gun. Do you enjoy it as much as I do? Do you find its recoil to be a little bit too unruly and you would rather use some of the other defensive weapons? Let me know down below. But yeah, guys, until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.